Put your business on display. Network, let's heal and pray. It's our love, we here to stay. Trust in God, he'll lead the way. We on right now, no need to wait. Let's go. It's Nisha's network, yeah, yeah. It's all about connecting, yeah, let's go.
Well, hey everybody, how are you today? I feel like I have not been here in a month of Sundays, and it's only been about 2 weeks. Last week, you all had the privilege of hanging out with my sister, Yolanda Livingston, Lady Liv, and it was a blessing and talked about freedom and healing. And so I'm just glad to be back here. I can't believe it's like been only a couple weeks and I feel like I have been gone. I was like, Lord, are you trying to tell me not to do Nisha's network anymore? But I was like, that could be what he's trying to say. But sometimes you have to have a hiatus. And I'm just so grateful today because I have a very special guest. After much celebrating yesterday, as I celebrated my baby girl, who is now Mrs. Robinson. That is none other than Nia, Isaac and Nia Robinson. So I have had a whirlwind of events that have happened, which are all exciting, all that still bring you hope in the world today. So if you are watching this today, I just want to say to you that definitely you want to go ahead and connect today because today we are going to talk about hope. And normally we talk to everybody, but today I want to say we're going to talk about to the women specifically. But men, you will benefit as well. Don't worry, you will benefit as well from talking about hope today. So I'm going to bring on my very special guest, one who is very dear to me, and she's a sister in the Lord, and I'm just really grateful to her for just being a part of my life. I mean, she has been an amazing gift to me, to my family, to Heart Life Ministries, and beyond. So let's bring on the wonderful, beautiful Lakesha Spight. Hey,
Good
Keish.
morning.
I call her Keish or Keisha. She calls me Niche.
I can't hear
Sometimes
you.
Nisha. I knew she was a little different this morning because she called me Nisha, and that's normally not what she says. So I was like, I said, yeah, well, we won't get into that. But anyway, good morning, girl. Can you hear me okay? You can't hear me? Oh my goodness. What happened? Okay. So this seems to be happening these days, you guys, and I don't understand why. So I'm going to ask Lakeisha to go out and come back in and see what happens there. Okay. And while we are waiting, I think we're going to have to take off one of the streams and just flow because sometimes it causes us not to hear. But anyway, if you all are watching, we are going to be joined by Lakesha Spight, Women of Hope. Let me see. Keisha, can you hear me?
I heard you at the beginning when you were doing your intro, but I can't hear you now.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. I don't know
I can
what's
read your lips.
happening.
You said, "Oh no."
So we're going to talk to our backdoor producer and tell her to log off
Yeah,
and see if
Shalene,
that will
I'm
help.
back.
We're going to have her to log off and just turn off, and we'll see if that will help. Okay, so we are joined with Lakesha Spight, Women of Hope today, and we're going to see if we can go ahead. All right, can you hear me? All right, this is very interesting that this would happen today. Well, for the time being, we're going to go ahead and just keep it moving, okay? Technical difficulties do happen, and we're not disturbed by them. We know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to his purposes. So let's see if we can bring Lakeisha back. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? There's a bad connection. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me, Lakeisha? Can you hear me? Oh my goodness.
I want to text her and tell her to come go out and come
Yeah.
back in because she can't.
All right. All right, everybody. So, anyway, let's talk about some exciting times. Fall is here and it's among us. And the bottom line is that we are looking forward to a new season. I love the seasons of change. I love the seasons of when we can kind of like take the time to say, see the fall, the leaves falling, and to see all the things happening with the kids back in school and just so many dynamics that have changed. And because we live in the Chicagoland area, we definitely see seasons: winter, fall, spring, and summer. And I just want to say, in this season of my life, it has been much rejoicing. It has been a year of celebrations. It has been a year where we have conquered a lot and overcome a lot. And then we also have an opportunity where um, we have to grieve. I'm going to say that. And we're in the month of September. And so, with that being said, it made me think about how September is Suicide Awareness Month. And that has brought back many memories. In the midst of many celebrations, I have not forgotten that my nephew is not here. And it's not to bring things down, but it's to say that celebrations cause you to have levels of hope. A lot of people say, well, I don't celebrate birthdays, or, we don't really do a whole lot for our anniversary, and we don't really do a whole lot for this or that. But you know what? One of the best things about celebrations is that it gives you hope to smile. It gives you hope to bring families together, even sometimes in the midst of homegoings or funerals. It's a time where everybody has to slow down and come together. And because September is Suicide Awareness Month, we have really hold on one second, you guys. We're on live this morning. But the bottom line is that because we're in Suicide Awareness Month for the month of September, what I have come to realize is that awareness is just something that brings you back to the space and place to say, never take things for granted, or to make you stop, pause, and pay attention to the fact that you need to have levels of hope, and you need to not take life for granted. And that's really what I have been thinking about and gleaning from. As many of you all know, Heart Life Ministries has a recovery program, and the recovery program is for mental health, unemployment, substance abuse, and homelessness, people who live without homes. And so, with that being said, our focus for the month of September is to really hone in on finding those young people and pouring back into them and saying, hey, there is hope for you. And we have to sometimes do that to others' demise, to the point of where we've had to struggle with others in our own family who may have lost their life, or may be struggling with depression or oppression or anxiety. But guess what? We literally have the opportunity to offer hope through the midst of the struggle. And that's what I wanted to share a little bit while we're waiting to see if we can get Lakeisha back on. And it's so funny that even while before I bring her on and see if we can get some sound going, um, thinking about all the teachers and educators and counselors that take the time out to pour back into our kids. That's such a crucial thing, you guys. And so we're gonna go ahead and see if we can find Keisha so she can talk about some of this hope that we need to have in the world today. And we're gonna pray that the sound works. We're gonna pray that this live will go live. And if not, we'll be back. Okay? Because nothing stops. One thing, technology does not stop us. We keep it moving. Okay. So let's see if we can bring her on, and hopefully she will be able to hear us.
I think I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, come on.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what went wrong, but let's go ahead and make it right. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Lakesha Spight, everybody. And I just wanted to say that she's a dear sister friend to me. And I want her to introduce herself to us. But then I'm going to dive right in back to what we were talking about just now, Keish, and then we can finish on. So thank God for you this morning. Thank you for your patience. This will speak a little bit to what we're going to talk about today. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
All right. Well, my name is Lakesha Spight. I am a longtime Southsider. I have 4 wonderful children. I am
Outside of where, girl? This is not just Chicago.
Chicago. I love Chicago. I recently relocated though, about 100 miles south of Chicago. But I'm a Chicagoan at heart, and it sticks out. Everybody I go around here, they like, you're not from here. So it sticks out. But I have 4 wonderful children. I am recently an empty nester. I've recently ended a relationship that I had for almost 25 years. So there are a lot of new beginnings that are happening with me. God has allowed me to be the founder, and I work with some wonderful women on Women of Hope. It's a platform on Facebook where God really stirs up hope in all of us. So I'm just pleasant. I'm just at awe to be here today to let you guys know more about hope and how God has shown up lately in my life and really restored my hope. It showed me a new level of hope. So that's
Yeah.
all. Also a licensed social worker, and I work in the school system. So that's what else I do. So when Nisha was talking about the kids, I can hear you, and those kids and those babies are near and dear to my heart.
Yes, they are, girl. And that's something, especially with you having raised your own. Your baby boy just graduated from high school. So, you're not an empty nester, but kind of sort of, right? Yes, yes, yes. So, you know what? I want to say that, and I told her we're just going to be transparent. She knows that, Lakeisha knows that we went through a very tough storm this past year. It's coming up on a year, November 8th. We're losing our son. See, when your nephews are your sons, losing our John boy. And Lakeisha was there to help us walk through that very difficult time, and understanding that she has sons. That alone, I'm sure spoke volumes or whatever. And even Khalil, he was praying and different things. But I was mentioning when we were having technical difficulties about September being Suicide Awareness Month, and I know you're a school counselor and a school social worker and everything. Um, I just want to offer some, and I was speaking to Women of Hope because that's the name of your ministry, Women of Hope. But the bottom line is that, we all need hope today. Like we're really struggling in that area of hope. So tell us a little bit about how you came about saying, you know what, not just Women of Hope, but how you had to find hope. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Wow. I think it started when I was very young, Niche, which is really funny. And I really didn't know what was happening because I was really young. And I just, sometimes I would look out and see things or homeless people, and it would make me feel sad. And all of a sudden, I used to feel this comfort over me. And I'm like, what is that? And this comfort will give me different things or ways to meet the needs, even as a kid. And so I know that was God now. And so that's kind of where it really began, Gan. I was a teen mom. My oldest daughter is 27. I have grandchildren. And in the midst of that, with all the statistics that come against teen moms and how people think you're not going to make it and that your life is over, God really stirred up hope in me. And then He led me I was a basketball player at the time. I was a sophomore in high school. I was on the basketball team. And my coach came up to me and he was like, "Are you pregnant?" And I think my coach was the first person I told, to be honest. And I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, I got some resources for you." So even in that, God allowed me to be in the comfort of someone who didn't judge me and who gave me hope. I'm like, "You got resources." So that meant that I could make it. And so he led me to this school called Arts of Living. It's by Christian Charities, and I went there, and then God just really started to grow me up as a leader there. Um, I was like a mentor to all the new girls that would come there, and God just really showed up and showed out, even in that situation that could have been the end of my life. I mean, it could have been derailed me to a point where I wouldn't be here today.
Wow, that is amazing, Keisha. I didn't know you were a teen mom. I don't know how I missed that, girl. We haven't talked about that. So you know what? And then moving forward, I know you most, and I told Lakeisha I don't know how transparent she's gonna be, but um, I'm gonna just read that she's a determined, hardworking person, and that's the truth. She is the show up queen. Let me just say that. Lakeisha will show up. You went on from your bachelor's, you have your master's, graduated from Aurora University with your master's in business and social work. And I want to say this word because I didn't know you are recently uncoupled after almost 25 years and waiting on the Lord. You have four wonderful children and two amazing grandchildren who you love very much. And I don't want to put emphasis on uncoupled, but I want to talk about it because Lakesha Spight, I always say this is you served on Heart Life Marriage Team Ministry and is a part of our Heart Life Ministries leadership team. And that's not just marriage, but that's just overall. Keisha has helped us so much. But how are you feeling today in terms of your levels of hope in regards to your personal life right now?
Wow. I would say probably about when it first happened. I was thinking about this yesterday, even though I kind of forgot that we were doing this, but I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, Lord, when this first happened, it felt like the life was knocked out of me. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, almost like my grandmother. My grandmother passed too during all of this. And my grandmother was a cursor, okay? And so even around me, I was like, Grandmama, come on. And sometimes she would stop. But when I was a little kid, I used to think it was funny. So in the midst of me thinking about it yesterday, I thought about a hell, but not in the way we think about it. But I was like, I felt like I got that knocked out of me. I got knocked down. And so in that, God was showing me how when he knocked the things out of me, he really knocked life into me. But he knocked some things out of me that needed to leave that I didn't even know was there.
Wow.
And it's so funny because I think how subtle the enemy is. He is really subtle. The way I thought I was really wasn't the way I was. So I had this mirror or perception of myself that was not real.
Really?
Yeah, really. 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 I
I
can
mean,
give you some
'cause
examples.
yeah, give me an example because you're one of the most realist people that I know. You know what I mean? Like you, it is very face value. I mean,
Me,
that's the way I look at it.
I was walking around here. You know, they talk about that plank in your eye and the speck in other people's eye. Now I knew I wasn't perfect, but I thought I was kind of close to it. And so I really didn't think I had any more issues to deal with. It's like, okay, la 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 la. And when this happened, God started to show me myself. He started to show me how stubborn I was. He started to show me how you deal with pride. He started to show you how I was condescending to people. He's like, you talk down to people. And I'm like, what? To the point where God had me record myself in a conversation with my former spouse. And I watched it and I was appalled. I was like, who do I think I am? I would just talk down to people as if I had some type of superiority. And it's so funny because your mother used to tell me that. And I was like, what is she talking about? I used to clutch my pearls. And your mother used to like, you are using your words to tear people down. I was like, what? And she was correct.
Wow, girl. Okay, so let's set some people free today. Let's talk about whom the sun says free is free indeed.
Thank
Because
you.
women of hope, you know what I mean? To me, I love women of hope because it to me it was birthed out of your own labor pains. Right? It was birthed in a space where you said, I have to have hope for myself. So I'm gonna offer people hope. Tell us a little bit about the hope side because and I know that you're waiting on the glory of God to reveal himself in so many areas, but you are walking this thing out. How can you encourage women today to say you can have hope?
The main thing I would say is have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to receive from God, because that's where He had me in the middle of all the pain, the hurt. God was there. I mean, He would show up in so many ways, and I think sometimes if we focus on the hurt and the pain, we miss Him. He would show up in my kids. The first very day of me being by myself, my oldest daughter showed up with flowers.
Oh
I was like,
wow.
come on, Jesus. And it just warmed my heart. And she said, Mama, God is with you. And so just allowing God to show up was key for me. I just started to seek him daily. I thought I was seeking him. No, 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 no. I think I was seeking him for areas of my life, or I was seeking him for my employment, or I was seeking him to bless me with that or bless me with that. But I started to seek him to show me me. I was like, Lord, show me me as I am for real, not as I see myself, not as even you see me in the future, God, but show me as I am right now. And when
Yeah.
you start to do that, it was painful. A friend of mine told me the other day that her old pastor used to say, "Don't show me all of me at once." And I didn't know that part. I should have.
That's a good one, girl. That's a good one. Yes, please don't show me all at once. I know there was a time, Keisha, when I asked the Lord, ride me out like a sewer, clean, create in me a clean heart, renew the right spirit within me, blot out my transgressions. And I say that I remember there was a season where I prayed that because I didn't want to be ugly. I didn't want the ugly. What's that song by Avery Sunshine? This is that ugly part of me. I'm like, I don't want that ugly part of me to show up. I do know that sometimes, as difficult as it is, people need to see the vulnerable spaces of you, because people don't need to see that you're perfect or that you got it all together. You know what I mean? But the hurtful part, is just being transparent. And one thing about you, you have always been transparent. And when this is the part I wanted you to talk about. When God tells you to be quiet and it's so difficult for you. Come on, tell us a little bit about that, girl. Because I remember you was like, I just have to be quiet.
Oh man, I am really learning, especially in this season, to walk in that because a lot of times when I can't do it, I say something I shouldn't have said in the first place, something I shouldn't even be thinking about. And that's when you talking about creating me a clean heart. God has really been showing me my heart and really showing me some ugly parts of my heart. Like, why are you looking at? And one time you even told me you mentioned something and you was like, why your face do that? And I was like, my face did what? You was like, your face kind of, I was like, ooh. And I had to ask God, what was that? And he started to reveal some things to me about that. So he has since taught me to just be quiet. And there's times where I'm like, and he'll just speak for me through either another person or through a situation. He really will fight our battle. If we will let him, he really will fight our battles. I was in a situation the other day and somebody said something to me that could have been hurtful. And God told me don't say nothing. I didn't say nothing. I was like, oh, well. And mid-sentence, they stopped and apologized and say, I don't even know why I was going there. That's how quick God will fight our battles if we let him.
Wow, 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 wow. Well, since your transitions in this year and over the last year, I guess, or so, you have recently relocated to Champaign, Urbana.
Yeah.
And that is a huge thing to just uproot and say, okay, God, I'm shifting. How does that feel?
Wow, at first it felt really strange, but God was always with me. So even though it was like strange, I still had the joy of the Lord. And every day I would get up and I would surrender everything to Him. Okay, Lord, today is the day. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not certain about anything, but I surrender to you, God. And I pray that you will be with me. I humble myself. That's been a new thing. I just say, I humble myself before you, God. I ask that you help me to do it. I choose to humble myself. So a lot of times this process has been me choosing. And I haven't always gotten it right. It's times where I messed up when I talk when I shouldn't have. And I'm like, oh, later in the day, God's like, yeah, I told you to be quiet. You kept talking. It's like, okay, what do I do now? He's like, you need to repent. And so I will repent. He's like, you need to go apologize to the person. And so in that has really taught me humility, has really taught me that you're not perfect. You're never going to be perfect. It's a daily surrender. It's a daily trial and error. And every day you'll get better if you stay closer to me. So I make it my business to stay close to God.
Oh, wow. That's so wonderful. I mean, it's encouraging as well. You know what I mean? Because sometimes saying yes may not look like your same familiar spaces. You may have to shift. Well, let's talk a little bit about since you become a school social worker and in the school system, how God uses you. Because I really hear you talk. I mean, we are part of the prayer line for Heart Life Ministries, and how you say, you specifically send prayer requests specifically when God shows you different students that need certain things. What type of impact do you feel like needs to be made more in the school systems? Just as speaking to the educators, the counselors, the social workers, what do you think can be done in this day and time?
The main thing I think can be done in this day and time really is seeking God niche. We gotta seek Him for real. And it's so funny that you asked that because a lot of my new coworkers they see me and they're like, "You have this grace about yourself. You can do that." I'm like, "That's God." They're like, "You know how to come in. You know how to take order," and they say you do it gracefully. You know that's a gift because I used to do it forcefully in my flesh. And so, just really seeking God being transparent, letting each moment be a teachable moment, not even just for you, but for the kids. Walking this healing out in front of the kids. They need to see us walking it out and not thinking that they're by themselves. I had a parent yesterday who came to me and she's like, I saw how you were working with my son. And she said, I think you're all he gonna need. I don't think he's gonna need outside counseling. I think you're all he's gonna need because you're so nice and kind and gentle with him that he's receptive. But that's the spirit of God leading me. So that's the main thing I think we really need the spirit of God leading us because Keisha, without God, can't do it. So I really trust and lean on him every day.
Yeah, seeking the face of God. How do you handle that though with the unbeliever? Or maybe not just the unbeliever, but with, people that just don't know Christ and have not done that fully surrendered and they may not even have the same grace. How do you literally handle that?
I
I mean,
believe.
you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
walking.
I believe for them because this particular mom says she does not believe in Jesus. She said, I believe in God. She said, but I trust you. So I'm going to be the face of God for her. And so that even is more of a weight. It's like, okay, Lord, now I gotta really get in my word because only the word is the thing that's breaking those things off. I'm not breaking that stuff off in my flesh. I'm really reading. God has me going through Ezekiel right now. And oh my,
Yeah.
Ezekiel, I don't know if you've read Ezekiel, but so I'm believing for her. I'm continuing to be uh kind. I'm continuing to be graceful. I'm continuing to pray for her. I actually gave their name to be prayed for, their initials to be prayed for on the prayer line. And I didn't know she was going to show up yesterday and say the things that she said to me.
Wow. 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 Women of Hope. You guys, if you all are watching, this is our sister friend, Lakesha Spight. She's the founder of Women of Hope Ministries. And you can find Women of Hope on Facebook. You can go to the Women of Faith and Women of Hope. Look, I said faith. I may be giving you another assignment, girl. But the Women of Hope Ministries on Facebook, you guys. Keisha, you have had several workshops and conferences that have really blessed women, and God just shows up every time. And I know it's not the end, it's just the beginning. So what do you see coming soon? What do you all have coming soon for Women of Hope?
It's funny you say that. So the big thing that's coming soon is November 26th. It's going to be virtual. We have a new conference coming. It's called Taking It All Back. It's from
Come
Matthew
on, girl.
11 and 12. Matthew 11 and 12. If you read it, please read it in the Passion Translation because it's going to bless you. Right now, we currently have a series going on called New Arrivals. It's every Wednesday at 5 a.m. on the Women of Hope platform. The great thing is it's replay. So if you don't get it at 5 a.m., you can get it later in the day. So that's kind of what God has on. October is a whole nother thing that's coming. But right now, those are the things that we have going on that we know are happening. But October is going to be another powerful month. So it's jump in when you can. So I'm telling you, you will be blessed. Invite other women. I just think God gave me women because I'm a woman. And so that's who I can relate to the most. And so that's why, Women of Hope and all those types of things. Yeah.
So waiting on God, while you're waiting, you're offering women hope. Isn't that something? I'm like, you're waiting on God. Everybody's story is gonna look different. But I'm just encouraged by my sister Lakeisha because she definitely is a person. Girl, you are a person that perseveres. You don't let nothing stop you. And I know you say that's the Lord. And I know that this times gets hard. That's just being real. But there's still hope. And I want to say thank you for being that counselor at the school, the social worker, the counselor, outside of the school district where you are doing, private counseling and just saying yes to God in spite of somebody gonna write that book in spite of I always made that running joke, but I do believe that because thank you for your yes, thank you for your surrender, thank you for your push, thank you for offering other women hope today and throughout the years. Thank you for offering the children hope and even the parents hope. That means so much. So, Women of Hope, you guys, you all follow Lakeisha on Facebook, Lakesha Spight, but Women of Hope, the group. You can join our Wednesdays, 5 a.m. Central, every Wednesday morning. And then we'll be on the lookout for all these things. What last words can you give people of encouragement, Lakeisha, just through your own personal journey and while you're waiting on God, especially that while you're waiting piece, for Him to answer the things He said to you? How could you encourage people with that?
I can encourage people with that niche by really trusting God and not looking in the physical, but really having that faith you talk about. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And me waiting on the Lord is really important for me at this time because there are people coming. They're like me and coming. And it's like, God's like, nope, nope. And my flesh will say, yeah, what you doing? You need to attach to somebody quick. And God's like, nope, 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 nope. And that has been challenging for me because I know who I am and I know the role that I should be playing. And right now, God's like, wait, it's so funny. When you had me at first on here, it said you are in the waiting room. And at first I'm like, when I'm finna get on there? Come on now. But that reminded me, just wait patiently. When it's my time, it's my time. And all of a sudden you popped up and I couldn't hear you. And so I was anxious to get on here and couldn't hear you. So I need to wait for God's timing. And so that taught me just wait patiently, Keisha. When it's your time, it's your time. And so that is a thing. We don't want to go ahead of God. We don't want to look back and say, okay, that wasn't the right thing to do. Not with certain situations, because some things are a matter of life and death. And I don't want to get in a place where I'm attached to things that I'm not supposed to be attached to. So
Yeah. Wow. Girl, that's a whole message right there. While you in the waiting room. And then don't get on before it's time because then you won't be able to hear right. Oh, that's so good. He always giving you analogies,
I
girl.
can't make these things up. That's my new saying for this season. I can't make these things up. And if we had time, if I told you how he continues to show up here in a new area where I don't even know anybody, everybody I run into, I can't even make it up. I can't make these things up, Nish.
Wow. I'm so blessed by us being able to talk today. Did you all hear that? So if y'all go back and watch the replay of this segment with insightful moments today and Nisha's network, you will see that we had technical difficulties. But Lakeisha just told us, if you're in the waiting room, don't be so eager to jump on. Wait, because you may not be able to be heard or you may not be able to hear yourself. So wait on God
Thank you.
and wait for the hope. Continue to have hope though that it's coming, right? Because we hope deferred makes the heart sick. So we definitely want to keep the hope going. Girl, you just blessed my whole life today. Well, I'm so glad we had this time together. If you are watching this, please share. If you guys have not subscribed to Nisha's Network, nishasnetwork.com or Nisha's Network YouTube channel, you all go ahead and subscribe because you'll be able to meet some amazing people like none other than this awesome, powerful, anointed woman of God, Lakesha Spight, who is offering women all over the world hope. Thank you so much for today, Keish.
Thank you, Nish. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so good. We're going to bring her back with some more stuff and we're going to make sure we advertise everything. So follow Lakesha on Women of Hope. Until next time, we have another segment coming up in a few minutes, you guys. So we love you. Hang tight, Keish, and we'll talk to you guys soon.